It's that time of year again when conservatives threaten to use the debt ceiling to tank the economy, cut off aid to those in need, and kick Big Mama and Big Papa out on the street. What is the debt ceiling? How is it such a big deal? And why do conservatives hate helping the poor and the elderly so much? They're willing to trigger a global financial crisis over it. I'm so glad you asked. Republicans like to talk about the debt ceiling.
Our national debt is high, too high. We are now $31 trillion in debt.
The big government crowd, they put out all the time, you have to spend more money, run up more debt, and raise taxes. Then they say the world will end, and we'll have plagues that even Moses would flinch at.
What is the debt ceiling? According to this very stressful billboard, America has over $30 trillion in debt. Economists argue over whether or not that's a bad thing. But at the end of the day, the debt ceiling is the limit Congress sets on how much debt America can have. The day we hit that limit is called the X date. And on that date, all hell breaks loose. If we hit that limit, we can't borrow more to pay our bills, which means at home, 30 million retirees don't get paid Social Security. 200 million bond holders don't get paid interest. People who work for the government won't get paid their salaries. And abroad, there's a global financial crisis because everyone loses faith in the dollar, which is the world's reserve currency. It's such a disaster that in 2011, when the U.S. got a little too close to the ceiling, the country's credit rating was downgraded for the first time in history, which crashed the stock market. Reasonable people would see this and think, let's not crash the economy. Let's just raise the debt ceiling. But conservatives see it as an opportunity to hold us all hostage. Republicans go on shows and pretend they're fiscally responsible and that we should rein in spending. But they really just want to cut vital programs that keep Americans alive. Programs like Social Security and Medicare, which helps our seniors. They pretend that's not the goal.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority.
But behind the scenes, they brag about it to their friends.
I'm here right now to tell you one thing that you probably haven't ever heard from a politician. It will be my objective to phase out Social Security, to pull it up by the roots and get rid of it.
Even this new brand of Republicans like Matt Gaetz, who pretends to be populist, salivate about cutting Medicaid, which provides medical services to people who live below the poverty line.
There's plenty of meat on the bone in Medicaid.
Republicans are not fiscally responsible at all. Oftentimes, Republicans are at fault for our debt. They give tax cuts to the ultra-rich, which increases our debt. They subsidize evil corporations who are not patriots to our country, which increases our debt. They waste trillions on unnecessary defense spending, which is just a handout to their donors, which increases our debt. And as if that wasn't evidence enough, this last fact is the nail in the coffin. If Republicans really cared about reining in spending, they'd always talk about the debt ceiling. But they only talk about the debt ceiling when Democrats have control in Congress or in the White House. When Republicans have control in Washington, the term debt ceiling never comes up. They vote to raise it every single time. So why do Republicans talk about the debt ceiling? They hate helping average Americans. Now you know, and I am so glad you asked.